What's up, good people? This is Frankie Telfer here at Old Bull Athletics, and I wanted to go over why the kettlebell is the only piece of equipment you need. Essentially, the kettlebell can give you the mobility, the strength, and the cardiovascular endurance that you need. Going over these 3 exercises for cardiovascular endurance: the swing, the clean, and the snatch, giving you all drills and exercises to master all 3 of those drills. We'll see you soon here at Old Bull. Check us out. Okay, so we're gonna start off with the kettlebell swing. We'll start off a foot away from the kettlebell, about shoulder width apart. From there, you're gonna keep your core tight and you reach your hips back, almost like in a hinge position. From then, you can grab onto your bell, pull the shoulder blades down into your back pocket, break that bell handle in half, looking straight ahead, hike between the legs, exhale on extension of the hips. Okay, so here are a couple of drills to help you with the kettlebell swing itself. Essentially, what we're gonna go over first is the kettlebell deadlift. The deadlift is just a slower version of the kettlebell swing or the hinge position. So what I want you to do is you're gonna stand directly over your bell first. Try to get your ankle bones in line with the handle of the bell. Keeping your core tight, you're gonna pull your hips back and then grab onto the kettlebell from there. With your elbows straight, spine tall, elbows straight, break that bell handle in half, slowly lift from the ground up into a standing plank, knees locked out, glutes core squeezed. Slow on the way back down, reach those hips back. Try to set the bell down in the same spot where you picked it up from. Again, slowly driving off the floor, slowly reaching the hips back to that deadlift position. Okay, so from slow to slow, the next thing I want you to do is you're gonna stand about a foot away from the bell, feet shoulder width apart. To kind of mimic the swing, we're gonna do something called a slow motion swing. Essentially, what I want you to do is break up the drive phase of the swing in the float phase of the swing. So we'll do this in slow motion. So core's tight, reach the hips back, and then grab onto the bell. Without the bell, we're gonna hike high between the legs, drive those hips forward, let the arms float off the rib cage. Let the arms come back to the rib cage, then reach the hips back. Then do another rep, lock those knees out. Let the arms float off the rib cage, let them come back down, reach those hips back. That is a slow motion swing. This is really just to help you with the sequencing of the swing itself. A lot of times at the top of the swing, people will kind of use their arms to get the belt to go higher. There's not really the opportunity to do that. The opportunity is really just to use your hips to get the bell to move, and then you're using your hips to get the bell to move again. So another thing that I see a lot fault-wise when it comes to the swing is people will hike their hips when they're hiking the bell. So, right, same setup. You'll get a lot of hip hike when I hike the bell between my legs. This is just poor positioning. You want to create more tension at the core, create more tension at the shoulders, elbows straight, hike high between the legs, but keep the hips in the same spot when you hike. So you have a nice stable basis to create your swing itself. So you can practice a couple of your hikes before we get into your dead stop swings. That'll help with the positioning for your swing itself. Shoulder width apart, core's tight. We're gonna go with one hand at a time. Essentially reaching the hips back, grabbing onto the bell, then hiking between the legs, popping it into the rack position. Exhaling on extension. Do that from the front position. So for the kettlebell clean itself, from that rack position, you want to let the bell drop, keeping everything close to your center of mass. Then feed it between your legs, keeping the elbow straight. Extend the hip and pop that bell back into the rack position. Biggest thing you want to focus on here is not have the elbow behind the hand, because the bell's going to want to dump on you. And then 2, when you're swinging between the legs, you don't want the bell to come all the way out here and then bang your wrist every time you get into the rack position. So from that clean, keep everything close, almost like you're zipping up a jacket. Keep everything close into the rack position and park it. So the next exercise for the kettlebell clean, essentially we're going to go over 3 different drills that we can do to kind of help with getting into the rack position. First exercise is a towel clean. So you need a towel. Place a towel underneath the armpit. Again, same setup, foot away from the bell, reach hips back, and you're going to grab onto the bell, but try to keep that towel in the same spot. Height between the legs, shoot the hips to get it into the rack position. Between the legs, shoot the hips to get into the rack position. And park it. So that's one. The other one is the pistol grip for the clean itself, to where we're hiking between the legs, we're popping the bell up as if we were, shooting from the hip, from like a country western or something like that. Popping the bell up into that rack position, popping the bell up, that rack position, pistol grip. So I'll show you what that looks like. Keeping the arm close to the side, letting the hips move, and that'll help you keep the bell nice and close for the clean itself. We'll go over the kettlebell snatch. So a little bit about the snatch before we start. Basically, you're going to get the bell overhead, and with the same wrist, you're going to kind of gooseneck your wrist when you get to the top, and automatically pull the elbow down at the same time to get the bell to flip from one side over to the other side. So it's a gooseneck pull, and then same idea, feeding it between the legs, shooting the hips to come back up. So I'll demonstrate a couple, then we can go into some of the practices that go with it afterwards. So hips back, shoulder set, elbow straight, hike. Here are a couple of drills to help you with the kettlebell snatch itself, to help create, better form or give you more efficiency for your snatch itself. So first thing, we're going to practice the clean, the press, and then the down phase, the negative of the actual snatch itself, right? So same setup, hike between the legs, keep that bell nice and close, press overhead, you're going to gooseneck down, get that bell to flip over, park it. Clean, press overhead, either military or push press, gooseneck, park it. One more time, clean, press, gooseneck, park it. Okay. So that's one drill. Another drill would be to walk towards a wall or get something that is pretty close to you to kind of help you tame the arc of the snatch itself. So snatch, you don't want the bell to go all the way out here and then bang you on the wrist. Same thing for the clean. You don't want the bell to go all the way out here and then bang you on the wrist. The idea is to try to tame that arc. So think about an imaginary wall in front of you, or you can even walk to a wall if you like. Snatch. Exhale on extension, keep everything close. Exhale on extension, keep everything close. Really tame that arc, hiking high between the legs. Which looks a lot like the clean, keep everything close between the legs, back to that rack position. Whew. So there you have it, a couple drills for the swing, the clean, and the snatch.